Imagine walking into a dealership, buying a car, and then, I don't know, 5 different marketing companies all secretly demand credit for making you do it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild when you actually see it happening.
It really is. So welcome to another custom-tailored deep dive, designed just for you, the ever-curious learner. Today, our mission is unpacking a really comprehensive analysis on why the shiny modern world of streaming TV advertising is just quietly draining local auto dealership budgets.
Right, and we're looking at a breakdown titled The Pitfalls of OTT and Streaming Advertising for Dealerships.
Exactly. And this deep dive is brought to you by DeskReadyLeads.com. We all know streaming is the future, right? But buying into that future the wrong way is costing businesses thousands of dollars with literally zero return. Okay, let's unpack this.
Well, to set the stage, the underlying premise these vendors use is based on a very real thing. Like, streaming has undeniably taken over.
Oh, for sure. No one's arguing that.
Right. I mean, the IAB reported that digital video is expected to capture nearly 60% of total U.S. TV and video ad spend in 2025.
Wow, 60%.
Yeah. And Nielsen's gauge tracks this massive audience shift away from traditional broadcast and cable. The audience is absolutely there. But the trap, the big mistake local businesses fall into is assuming that national growth automatically equals local sales.
Right, right, because a national trend doesn't always pay the bills locally. But before we get into why that assumption fails, we should probably translate the alphabet soup here.
Oh, the advertising industry loves its acronyms.
They really do. It makes things sound so much more sophisticated.
Yeah.
So vendors throw around OTT and CTV just to ground us.
Yeah.
OTT stands for over the top, right?
Yeah, over the top, which mechanically just means video content delivered over the internet. You're bypassing a traditional cable box.
Okay, and then CTV.
CTV is connected TV. That refers to the actual physical hardware. So, your Roku, your Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, or just the smart TV itself.
Got it. So stripped of all the jargon, this is simply a dealership running video commercials on streaming apps.
Exactly. But the pitch the vendors make is incredibly polished.
Oh, I bet. What do they say?
They walk into a dealership and promise to reach the cord cutters. They promise placement on premium content, targeting specific zip codes, and moving beyond old school cable. It sounds powerful.
Yeah, it feels like television, but smarter.
Precisely. It sounds incredibly sophisticated.
But looking at the breakdown here, there is a massive mismatch between the product being sold and the business buying it. I mean, national automakers like corporate Toyota or corporate Ford, they have the margins to spend millions on brand awareness.
Right. They just need to make sure you know what the new model looks like.
Exactly. But a local dealership, they operate on completely different physics. They need direct response. They need the phone to ring today, web forms filled out, showroom visits. They need to move metal right now.
And that is the core flaw in the whole transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Vendors are selling this passive awareness product to local businesses that desperately need direct, measurable sales.
It sounds like a local dealer buying a Super Bowl-style awareness campaign when what they actually need is a cash register ringing today.
That's a perfect analogy. You are basically taking bottom-of-funnel money, so dollars meant to convert active shoppers, and spending it on a top-of-funnel channel. A new streaming campaign doesn't fix a broken sales process. It just, makes it way more expensive.
But wait, if the vendor pitch says OTT is more measurable than TV, why isn't it driving these direct responses? I mean, they claim it's totally trackable.
Well, because of what they are actually measuring. When vendors bring in their reports, they show these impressive-sounding metrics: impressions, reach, frequency, and the big one, the video completion rate.
Right. Here's where it gets really interesting. Because if a vendor shows me a 95% video completion rate, isn't that proof the ad is working? I mean, they watch the whole thing.
See, that sounds great until you realize how the platforms work. A 95% completion rate isn't a measurement of human engagement. It's a measurement of platform constraints.
Wait, what do you mean?
In most streaming environments, the viewer is forced to sit through the ad. They literally cannot skip it.
Oh, wow. So they could just be looking at their phones.
Exactly. They might have walked into the kitchen to grab a snack, or they're scrolling Instagram. Completion does not equal interest. Exposure is not demand. And delivery is not persuasion.
So the reporting is essentially just verifying that the television was turned on.
Basically, yeah. And this leads us to the most dangerous part of streaming advertising: The attribution shell game.
The shell game. Let's map that out because this is where the money really disappears, right?
Oh, absolutely. So imagine a typical household on a Tuesday night. Someone is watching a show, and the dealership's ad plays passively on their smart TV. They don't click anything. They don't scan a QR code. They just wait for the show to come back.
Okay, Tuesday night, passive view. Nothing happens.
Right. Then, 3 days later on Friday, someone in that same house decides they need a used car. They go to Google, search the dealership's name, click a paid search ad, and browse the inventory.
Okay, so that's a Google click.
Yep. Later that day, they're on Facebook. They see a retargeting ad from the dealer. And then, because they got an oil change there 2 years ago, the CRM sends them an email.
Wow. Okay, so they are getting hit from everywhere.
Exactly. And then Saturday, they walk in and buy a car.
Okay, so a car is sold, the dealership made money. But when the marketing reports come in at the end of the month, who takes credit for that one sale?
Every single one of them.
Wait, really, all of them?
All of them. The OTT vendor claims an exposed household visit. The Google vendor claims a paid search click. The Facebook vendor claims a view through conversion. And the CRM claims an email touch. 5 different vendors take credit for one single sale.
That is insane. So the dealer's bank account shows one car sold, but the marketing reports show 5 different vendors generating that same revenue.
Exactly. What's fascinating here is that inference is not proof. Just because an ad played in a living room on a Tuesday doesn't mean it caused the physical showroom visit on Saturday.
Right. They're just inferring influence because it's the same household.
Yeah, they're taking credit for a sale that was highly likely to happen anyway, probably drawn by that Google search.
If they're perfectly willing to manipulate attribution like that, it makes you wonder about the targeting. Because vendors heavily promote this idea of household targeting. They claim they can hit specific income levels, lease statuses, vehicle ownership.
Yeah, they sell it as this precision sniper rifle, but it's really messy in reality.
Because to me, household targeting sounds like assuming everyone at the dinner table wants exactly the same meal. How accurate is this data really? Are we actually hitting in-market shoppers?
Well, you have to look at the mechanics. People share devices, IP addresses change. A lot of this audience data is inferred and modeled, not deterministic.
Meaning they are just guessing based on behavior.
Exactly. They see web traffic from an IP address going to an auto research site, and they assume a 45-year-old car buyer lives there. But that ad might end up playing for their teenager watching a gaming stream.
Oh, man. So you're paying a premium to show a car commercial to a 15-year-old.
Yeah, and dealerships never ask the hard questions. They don't ask, is this data deterministic or modeled? Can I exclude my current customers?
That's a huge one. Why pay to show an ad to someone who just bought a car from you yesterday?
You wouldn't. But the core issue here is intent. We have to contrast OTT with something like Google search. If I search used Ford F-150 near me, that is incredibly high intent.
Right. I'm actively looking for a solution.
Exactly. But OTT is fundamentally low intent. It's an interruption. You're interrupting someone cooking dinner or watching a movie. They might not even have their phone nearby to look you up.
Which establishes a sort of golden rule for budgeting here. Never starve high-intent demand capture to fund low-intent awareness.
That's spot on.
I mean, if you're not fully funding your Google search for your brand or used inventory, you have no business taking money away from that just to interrupt someone's evening with a streaming ad.
Exactly. Don't defund active shoppers just to shout at people who aren't looking.
But let's play devil's advocate for a second. Let's assume a dealer gets the mechanics perfectly right. They use deterministic data, no overlapping attribution, high-intent household. The source points out that even then, the actual execution is where everything falls apart.
Oh, the execution is usually terrible. Starting with the creative itself.
Right. We've all seen the typical dealership ads stuffed into streaming. It's a drone shot of the building, a manager talking way too fast, huge graphics screaming about savings, and then microscopic disclaimers.
Yeah, they just take a chaotic local cable commercial from 1998 and shove it into a modern streaming app.
But if they have the audience's attention, isn't getting the dealership's name out there enough? Just building brand familiarity.
Not for the price they're paying. The screen is not a sales desk. People aren't going to pause their movie to read a complex APR offer. A better ad focuses on one specific psychological trigger.
Like what? What would be a better trigger?
Something like, is your lease ending this year? Or, is your payment too high? Address a specific pain point instead of just blasting noise.
That makes sense. But then there's the digital infrastructure behind it. The source calls this a broken funnel. If that payment relief ad sends the user to a generic homepage with thousands of cars, the whole campaign just leaks.
Yeah, it's a total dead end. The
Yeah.
landing page has to seamlessly match the TV commercial.
And the disconnect continues right onto the sales floor, right? Into the BDC, the Business Development Center.
Oh, this is where it really crashes and burns.
If the BDC lead simply drops into the system labeled as OTT campaign, the salesperson calls the customer and says, hey, are you still interested in buying a car?
Right, which completely destroys the context. The customer doesn't care about buying a car, they care about lowering their payment. The salesperson should be saying, I saw you responded to our payment relief campaign. What are you driving right now?
So buying exposure without sales enablement just kills the campaign's point.
Completely nullifies it.
So what does this all mean? If attribution is a shell game, the targeting is guessing, the creative is bad, and the funnel is broken, why is this pushed so hard on dealers?
Because it is a massive vendor margin product. It's incredibly opaque.
Opaque how? Like hidden fees.
Well, unlike Google, where you can see the exact cost per click, OTT is bought programmatically through blind exchanges. Dealers don't know the split between the actual media spend and the vendor's markup.
And vendors always lean on the phrase premium inventory. All right, that sounds super safe.
It sounds prestigious, but it's vague. Premium inventory could be a live sports game on Hulu, or it could just be some random 24-hour weather app that technically counts as connected TV, but has zero engaged viewership.
And because local dealers target small areas, that opaque buying leads to massive frequency waste. The system just hammers the same household 27 times a month to fulfill an impression quota.
Exactly. Frequency without strategy is just waste, and it annoys people.
So let's give the listeners the blueprint. When does this actually work? Lay out the exact scenario where a dealership should use OTT.
Okay, so if we connect this to the bigger picture, OTT works for dealerships with strong local brands. They need big budgets, and their high-intent channels like search have to already be fully funded.
Okay, so cover the basics first.
Right. Then they need highly specific creative, like a Spanish language finance campaign or a trade and trust campaign. They need dedicated landing pages for those specific ads, and they must demand transparent placement reporting from the vendor.
You have to know exactly where your ads are running.
Exactly. It's an advanced tactic, not a foundational one.
To synthesize the core message for you listening, do not buy streaming TV just because it sounds modern or because cable is dying. It must have a specific job, and you have to be able to prove it worked. Feelings are expensive. A dealership needs customers with a reason to buy, not just more households reached.
And that reality leads to a really profound final thought. If we accept that inference is not proof and that multiple platforms are claiming credit for the exact same customer action.
The 5 vendors taking credit for one sale.
Exactly. How much of the entire digital marketing ecosystem across all industries, not just automotive, is built on vendors simply taking credit for sales that were going to happen anyway?
Are we paying for persuasion or just paying for a mirror? That is a wild thought to leave on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the data behind the dashboard, and we'll catch you next time.